All right, people. Welcome back to Ain Sports for Pole Position Pod. We've got the USA Grand Prix in Austin, the preview for that. It's been an exceptional quali. It's been an exceptional sprint race. I've had a blast watching these last two events unfold. Augusta is back. Renvier and King are back from yesterday's show. But big up to you guys. Hope you guys are well. Augusta, first and foremost, hope you're well. And yeah, let's talk, man. Let's talk.
Man, I am more than well. There is not a single word in the dictionary. There is no vocabulary that can describe how happy I am. We might have the most historical, heroic, Herculean comeback in sports history. This is like going better than a utopian wet dream at the moment. Max Verstappen, not only did he win the sprint race, and not just that he won the sprint race, both of his title adversaries, Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, crashed out. We'll talk about who's at fault, if anyone is at fault for that incident. So he got 8 points on both of his contenders. And then he's consolidated that. He's followed that up by putting his Red Bull on pole, not just putting it on pole, dunking 6/10 on merit on the title leader at the moment, Oscar Piastri, and also a neat 3/10 on Lando Norris. So I'm ecstatic. I'm euphoric. I am completely thrilled, and I am loving this. Austin has been fun. Obviously, it's a very fast circuit. Formula One is fast, but Austin seems to personify that more than most circuits, and I'm having a blast. This is Daddy Max. Daddy Max is dominating, and we love to see that. So I don't know about you guys. I'm doing well.
Yeah, I'm doing good. Ranveer and King, obviously back from yesterday's show. Obviously, I clipped up some of the streams. If you want to go check it out, the clips are there. The 3 clips that I uploaded were there. Big up to you, Daniel. Big up to you, bro. We are coming. Let's go, Max. Yep, 100%. Max Verstappen is on his way. Could potentially, if he does make it out of tomorrow's race without any crashes, hopefully, nothing happens. Nothing crazy happens. If he does make it out of tomorrow's race with no incidents, he will be within 30-something points or 20-something points of the top 2. And that is something that, this could be one of the craziest endings, like Augustin mentioned, to an F1 season I think we've ever seen in history. Two drivers who were dominant from the get-go, but sort of tailed off midway and allowed a monster to get back into it. You know what I'm trying to say? Do not poke the bear. Do not poke the bear, because that's what Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri are doing right now. They are poking the bear, and the bear has woken up, and he is after you. That's Max Verstappen for you right there. And that's the analogy I can use. But Renvier and King, I don't know about you guys. I don't know if you want to add anything you want to talk about today's sprint race. Actually, we'll talk about sprint race first. I think I spoke to you guys not so long ago. Actually, I'll start with Augusta, actually, because Augusta wasn't here for the show. Thoughts on the sprint race, man? I mean, it's been a good sprint race as well. I mean, quali was exceptional as well yesterday. You had Hulkenberg on provisional pole. You had Piastri. You had Norris on provisional pole. Then you had Max going there, and then you had Piastri just above Hulkenberg. But Hulkenberg out in qualifying today, out in was it Q2, Q1, Q2? I think he got out. Was it one of them? But regardless, Augusta, talk to me about the sprint race, bro. Sprint race first, yeah.
I loved it. I love the sprint race completely. Of course, the beginning and the end were marred with safety cars, incidents, illnesses, and ailments, but that was fun. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Obviously, that first lap, very chaotic. The definition of chaotic. So for those who didn't watch it, in case you missed it, basically both McLaren cars crashed out, but they weren't the only victims. The first lap was very, very interesting because Max was starting on pole in the sprint race. He got a very good start. And then Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris were neck and neck. Oscar started off better than Lando, but Lando eventually regained his rhythm. And Oscar tried a very unorthodox and aggressive move, ambitious move on Lando Norris. But because it was unanticipated by the drivers right behind Oscar, as in Hulkenberg and Alonso, it created a pinball effect that led to 4 cars. Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, Fernando Alonso, and Nico Hulkenberg, basically destroying their race. The first 3 of those cars, minus Hulkenberg, all of them retired on lap 1 because they had a pinball incident, very similar to what happened in Hungary a few years ago, very similar to what happened in Spa in 2012 as well. But it's not about the pinball effect. That, as a Formula One fan, with the adrenaline, with the excitement, that's great. We love incidents when no drivers are injured, but it happened to be the two of the three cars that are competing for the championship, as Ekman said. McLaren were like Kanye West. They were runaway. They were running away with this title for so long. They were in a league of their own for the first half of the season. I think it was north of 100-point gap on Max Verstappen. Yet, because of this crash, because of the whole narrative changing, instead of McLaren focusing on consolidating their title, every single race that goes by, whether it's a full race or a sprint race, somehow, some way, through strategy, through suffering of a mental lapse, or through incident, McLaren just seemed to be the architect of their own downfall. And today, again, this incident was a little bit more questionable. I'd love to hear what all of you make of it. Initially, I thought if anyone was to blame, it would be Hulkenberg, because obviously he rammed into Oscar, who subsequently rammed into Lando. But looking back at the footage, looking back at the slow-mo footage, it did seem like, because Hulkenberg, whatever he did, towards his left, he had Fernando Alonso. Towards his right, he had Oscar Piastri. To me, it was more a racing incident. It was just that Oscar was overly ambitious and aggressive, trying to make the move on Lando in the initial few turns. But unfortunately, because he was so ambitious, Hulkenberg didn't react in time, Alonso didn't react in time, and Lando Norris was the victim, was the bystander in this. He didn't do anything to deserve that elimination. So, yeah, bottom line is I enjoyed the sprint, Ekevin. I thought it was very fun. That first lap is great because it sets a beautiful precedent for the championship going forward, with Max Verstappen gaining 8 points on both of the drivers. And then obviously at the end of it, we had the Esteban Ocon Lance Stroll incident, which was obviously 110% Lance Stroll's fault. So
shame, I guess. I thought Lewis Hamilton had the chance to overtake Sainz for third. I genuinely
I don't think so. I think he had pace when he overtook Charles, which was a beautiful overtake, one of the best overtakes this season. But eventually his pace was drying up, and Sainz had a buffer outside of the DRS range. So yeah.
Big up, Mr. Joshua J. Happy birthday, my guy. Happy birthday, bro. Make sure you guys go subscribe to his channel. Make sure you guys get him to his next goal and on his birthday, man. Big up to you, man. And hopefully, United, hopefully United can go Anfield and get 3 points on your birthday, man. Big up to you, man. Hope you're well, man. Hope you're well. And if you want to join, I can send you the link if you like, but no pressure, bro. No pressure. It's all good if you don't want to join. King or Renbeer, one of you two want to talk about the race and start and go from Augustius' point?
Yeah, in my prediction, Akavin, I said, do I say that McLaren crashed in a sprint race today? And you said no, so that changed my mind. But
you did. Fair play.
But I was thinking that the tensions was going to boil over, and looking back on it, and when I first saw it happen live, I did think it was Piastri's fault. Piastri was just trying to slot into a gap that didn't exist on a racetrack, and in doing so, his rear left wheel just completely sheared off, ruined Norris's race and ruined Hulkenberg's race. He went from 4th to 15th, and obviously Alonso always says he has bad luck, and now he's just been caught in the midst of this crash. But Verstappen, from there on in, nursed the race home. Obviously, there was George Russell who was hot on his heels, but when he tried that over-ambitious move where both of them ended up off the racing line, that caused Russell's tyres to degrade a lot outside a normal performance window, which then allowed Verstappen to easily take the sprint race victory home, and all 8 points over his title rivals. Now the gap between him and Piastri is 55 points now.
Yeah. No, I hear it, bro. I hear it. And King, you wanna add anything to that as well? For Renvier's and Augustius' point, and then I'll get my point in a bit.
I mean, there's not really much to add. Unfortunate what happened at the start of the race. In terms of the crash, it was a racing incident. I think because Max and Lando weren't on the traditional line, so Oscar was on the traditional line going into that corner, and then Hulkenberg was stuck in between a rock and a hard place in between Alonso and and Oscar, and he hit Oscar. Oscar hits Lando, pretty much takes all of them out of the race. And out of contention. Well, they take two. Both the McLarens are out of the race, and Hulkenberg is out of contention of getting points. Alonso was out of the race because of that incident as well, and it kind of led to a different end to the sprint race than expect. Well, then I kind of expected to be an incident. I didn't expect the incident to involve another car. I thought it was going to be McLaren and McLaren violence, but it just seemed to be just a what's it called, Constantina effect of the different pieces moving. It can happen in that corner in Kota, and yeah, it was just a racing incident. There was not really one main culprit in fault. It was just once one car hit, the other car hit, and then it just pretty much ruined the sprint race. It's not the biggest of deals, because they can still get those points back in the main race, especially when we talk about qualifying. But yeah, beneficiaries of that were the two Williams, the two Ferraris, and the Red Bull, the UK, and the Mercedes. So pretty much McLaren being out meant that all 8 points taken positions were by the 4 other teams in terms of Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari, and Williams. So yeah, it's crazy. Both McLarens and Astons didn't make it to the end of the race.
I mean, the sprint race had the safety car for, at least in my opinion, 30% of the race. I mean, you've got what the safety car was out there for about the first, I think, few laps. Obviously, when Hulkenberg crashed into Piastri and Norris, which caused both of them to get out of the race. Which I think Oscar tried to continue, but he was forced to leave the track because he wasn't allowed to continue because he didn't want to. Because I think it was because of the debris. He wasn't allowed to, if he crashed and leaves debris behind, it causes trouble for the cars. Hence why I think, yeah, he was. I think it was unlucky. I wouldn't blame Oscar entirely. I know it sounds a bit mad. I wouldn't blame him entirely for that. I would look at maybe Nico Hulkenberg. I think when he made the wrong cut, I think he cut into, what was it, the McLaren at, what was it, turn 3 in one of them. I was like, Max Verstappen took the lead. Obviously, you had the two McLarens wheel to wheel with each other, and then you had Nico Hulkenberg right behind them, and then he just cut in, and then that's where it happened. I think it was like the back wheel that happened. I think it was like the back wheel of Hulkenberg that hit. Sorry, the back wheel of Hulkenberg. Sorry, was it Hulkenberg? Was it Piastri that the back wheel got hit by Hulkenberg's front wing?
Yeah. Hulkenberg hit Piastri because he had nowhere to go, because obviously Alonso was on his inside.
Trying to cut in front.
Yeah, so it was gonna happen. It was gonna happen in that corner. It can happen, and I think because of the cars were too close to get together, Hulkenberg, as I said, had nowhere to go, so he kind of hit Piastri, which led to the effect of what happened to Norris. And Max was lucky that he had a good enough start that he was out of that kind of caution zone.
And Auguste, what do I always say about F1s, the F1 races?
The start is the most important part of a race.
What happened to the McLarens? They didn't get over that. They didn't get over the start. They crashed into each other. Hulkenberg was out. Hulkenberg was very, very lucky to stay in the race. Very lucky to stay.
Yeah, so it was first Hulkenberg who made the contact with Piastri.
Yeah,
and then the rest of
Alonso crashed out, didn't he? It was Alonso. It was Norris and Piastri, and then the rest just spoke for us. And it was Ocon, and what was it? Who was it? Who else? Was it Pierre Gasly that crashed out?
No, Ocon. Stroll crashed into Ocon on lap 15.
Stroll and Ocon, yeah. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, with the space to overtake, I think some of the moves that some of the drivers made today, I can say, yeah, you only have yourselves to blame for that, because you caused an accident out of one of the early turns. You cut into the drivers. You literally crash into the side of the car. Of course, it's going to force them to drive. Of course, you're going to cause damage to the car. I think, was it Ocon that crashed into Stroll? Was it Ocon that crashed into Stroll? Or was it Stroll that
The other
crashed
way.
into Stroll crashed into Ocon? Stroll cut into to the side of his left car. Sorry, to the left of his car. To the left of his to the left of his car, and that's what happened. Basically, that's how he crashed out, and it forced him off the track. Luckily, not much debris. Safety car was deployed, and the race had to be not really put to a halt, but that was the result there. Max Verstappen basically had the free path to the checkered flag, and that's just how the race ended. To be fair, it wasn't the most eventful sprint race ever, but at the start it was the most eventful. It was the ending that just didn't have much to it, because obviously, like,
if I can interrupt, I think the eventful part was not the race; it was the result. That was what was eventful.
Yeah. That's it basically. So yeah, I mean, unless you guys want to add into the sprint race, we can talk a bit more about it if you want to.
Yeah, when Russell made that move on Verstappen,
I thought Hamilton did well.
When he failed to stop his car in time, I thought that was Antonelli making a move on Tsunoda. I don't think it was the two front runners. So when Russell did that, I thought, he's got pace. He can make up a margin on Verstappen, but then that just took a chunk out of tyres, and he wasn't able to get anywhere close near that. And also, when Hamilton made that move on Leclerc to slot into P4, I think that was where Leclerc said he made a big mistake. Well, I don't think it's a big mistake. You just can't defend that move properly.
I just think Hamilton was the fastest driver on the week. I mean,
Exactly.
I know quality didn't really say otherwise, but Hamilton was the fastest driver in the sprints. Anyways, I think Hamilton on sprints, I think he's the best Ferrari driver on the sprints. We've seen it in the last few sprint races for a reason. Like, he is the best driver on the sprints of Ferrari by somewhat of a distance. In terms of just actual race, he's not been up to standard. However, this qualifying, Charles Leclerc, you have to give it to him. He did very well in sector 2 and sector 3. I think Charles Leclerc, he beat, what was it? No, he didn't beat, but he got provisional. Was it provisional pole that he got? Was it him that got provisional pole? Charles Leclerc, for a moment, he got provisional pole, or was it not? Charles Leclerc got provisional pole. Or was it Max Verstappen? No, Max Verstappen got provisional pole, and he stayed on pole.
If I'm not mistaken, like I said, I only watched the sprint. I saw the end of quali. Max only was able to do one lap, and his banker lap ended up being his best lap. Pole lap. So I think Max was always on pole. Renvier, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
No, Russell got provisional pole, and I think Leclerc did as well. Norris had provisional pole as well. So
yeah, I mean, Leclerc, Red Bull have improved a lot the last few weeks in terms of like where they were in terms of where they are now. Like, they've improved a lot. Obviously, Renvier, you sent me something about pace since, what was it?
No, I think that's just like a fabricated graph to make F1 fans think something differently, but I don't think that graph is necessarily true.
Okay.
I think that's just for clicks. But in terms of, you can interpret how you want if you think that it is showing true information. Agostino, do you want me to send it to you?
You can if you'd like, yes. Thank you.
But I guess I haven't asked you your opinion on Russell and Antonelli's new contracts extended yet. Obviously, Renvier and King gave their opinions on that. I said it was kind of the right decision, but at the same time, you could have gone for a better driver. I said it was the right decision in terms of like you backing your drivers, cool, but you're backing your drivers. You gave them the time to succeed in the Mercedes seat, but in terms of like futuristic, you could have gone for someone better. That's what I think. I can look at it from both ways, but I want to know your thoughts on the contract extension, just real quick, if you want to.
Yeah, I think it was obvious. A broken clock could have predicted it. George Russell and Kimi Antonelli were both going to get contract extensions with Mercedes. It's obvious. Look at the driver market. I understand, Ekevin, what you mean of they could have got someone better. But today, looking into next year, looking into 2026, I can't think of a driver that would be better than either. Forget George, who in my opinion is a bona fide top 3 driver this season. In terms of pure performance, whether it's quali all the way to the race itself, George Russell has outperformed that Mercedes car more times than anybody else but Max Verstappen. I think Charles is the only one that you can include in that conversation. Those three are in that debate for best drivers in terms of pure pace and least mistakes. And also not just that, leading their team as well, especially Russell and Verstappen. And then when it comes to Kimi Antonelli, yeah, while he's been error prone, he is this generation's Lewis Hamilton. He is this generation's Max Verstappen in terms of pure talent. I believe that what he's done before Formula One at the age he's in is borderline unprecedented generationally. It's generational. It is the definition of generational. So then I look at the driver's market. I'm like, who could they possibly get that's not already signed to another team? Everybody else would be a rook or a vet. So that doesn't make sense. So George and Kimi extending their contract for one more year, that makes sense. But I agree with you, Ekavin, on this part. 2027 in 2 years. I'm glad it's a 1-year contract because we know who's knocking on the door. We know next year who is on the market. It's the man. It's the messiah of today's Formula One, Max Verstappen. So I don't care whether you're George Russell, Lewis Hamilton, whoever it is. Maybe not Lewis Hamilton, George Russell, Charles Leclerc, or Lando Norris. If Max is on the door, I'm sorry. I love you personally, but professionally, you gotta go. So it's good that it's a 1-year contract. We'll see what happens next year. And hopefully, again, by the end of next year, if George is sustaining this level and Kimi is sustaining his level, Kimi will be axed. It will be Max and George and Mercedes in 2027. Or if George declines, Kimi ascends, then it will be Max and Kimi in 2027. But if I'm Mercedes, I keep them both for 1 year and then I look for Max. That's what I do. But George and Kimi are fine drivers, especially George Russell, who I got to say is my MIP this season because he has been remarkable, not just on the track, but as much so off the track here.
100%. But also you got to look at like Total Wolf, who he wanted. Like I told you about Max Verstappen, I sent you the post on Instagram today. He really, really wants to bring Verstappen in, but then again, I think he stopped sort of eyeing these drivers to bring him in because at the end of the day, Mercedes next season they've got the most capital, they've got the most resources, they've got the most like I said, they've got the resources and the capital to spend next season as well. Because I think Red Bull was not sanctioned, but they got fined for their overspending back in 2021, 2022, I think around that time. But then again, you got to look at Mercedes, Aston Martin. They spent they've got all the, like I said, they've all got all the capital and revenue and the financial and the budget in the world to go and spend and improve their car, because next year they have the fastest engine. To improve that, you use your resources wisely, and that's what they have next season. They've got all the resources, they've got all the finances, they've got everything, capital, you name it. So they've got the engines, you got the machinery, you got everything you need next season to prepare for yourself for a championship race. I think McLaren are in for a shock because you got Mercedes there, you got Aston Martin there, ready to pounce if a team's going to crumble next season. If McLaren are on the downfall next season, if they don't go by the regulations next season, if they don't adapt to the new regulations next season, Mercedes, Aston Martin are there to pounce. In my opinion, that's what I think though. But King and Renveer have already given their thoughts on that. I will I'll move on now. Kimi Antonelli is young, so yeah, he's still very young. He is still very young. But we shall see. Big up to Zero Talks. Make sure you guys go sub to his channel, people. Zero Talks. Big up to you, bro. Big up to you, my guy. I appreciate you, man. So yeah, hit the likes and subscribe, people. 100%. If you haven't done so already. We're one sub to 470. Would you make a Victor Martins, Pepe Marti, and Leonardo Farinoli?
Formula 2 drivers.
Oh, F2 drivers.
Yeah.
What do you make of them? Do you want anything real quick?
Pepe Marti, he's in the Williams Academy. I think Victor Martins is also in the Williams Academy, and Leonardo Farinoli, I think he used to be in the Ferrari Academy a few years ago, but got released, and he's currently in no academy. But he won the Formula 3 championship last year, and he's also currently at the top of the Formula 2 championship in his first year. So obviously there must be a lot of talent behind him.
But yeah, we're gonna move on to the to qualifying now. I think, unless you guys want anything real quick. Qualifying. Obviously, Max pole again as back to back poles. Renvier mentioned on the last show that last year in Austin, Verstappen won in Austin sprints last year, so he knows the track. He's kind of repeating his dominance on the track. Can he repeat that race win? We shall see. Can he get a race win in Austin? We shall see.
Last year
Tomorrow.
in the main race, Norris got pole, and then Leclerc won the actual race itself.
Yeah, because they forced each other off the track. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. And then they both got like a penalty or something like that, like a 5-second penalty. And then both Ferrari drivers went 1 and 2, I think. So yeah. And then you got what was it? George Russell. You have the McLaren drivers ready to pounce. But yeah. Anyone want to add real quick on quali? I don't really have much to say. I mean, I just think it was a great ending to quali. I thought Verstappen got what he needed. He like I said, he's pounced on the McLarens because what do you think? Like they've not been at their game. They've been, like I said, I think there's a bit like a fallout behind the scenes with Zach Brown with the two drivers. I think the two drivers are not in good condition. So yeah.
No, I think with McLaren, unless there is some glaring technical and mechanical deficit, which Renvier would be able to expand on, I'm just going to assume there isn't. The reason that they are flailing and falling and failing the way they are, and they have completely capitulated that big commanding lead they had, is the mind. And I know it's a simple but also sophisticated thing to say. It is the mind, right? And I think both McLaren drivers, and I hear the team, all they talk about is Max. Why are you worried about Max? You were 100 points ahead of him. You needed to just focus on what you were doing, and you have the fastest car as well. Why are you focusing on trying to beat Max? Win the race. That's what you're doing. That's what you're supposed to do. Do what a Max would do. But because you're so focused on covering Max Verstappen, or because you're so focused on covering Lando Norris, which was what Oscar Piastri was, right? The reason he fucked up at the beginning of the race is because he was focused on Lando. He forgot Hulkenberg was behind him. He forgot that Alonso was behind him as well. He was so focused on getting past Lando Norris, he screwed up both of their races, right? Again, I think it was a racing incident, but if anyone was to blame, it was Oscar Piastri. But and George Russell also hinted and agreed with that as well. So I think what McLaren need to do is they need to just focus on their own race. Forget Max. Win the race. You have a fast enough car to win every single race. You can do it, but you're not going to do it because you have a driver that's quicker than you and a driver that's mentally in a different league to you. So yeah, I think McLaren, Ekhoven, I don't know if it's fallout behind the scenes. I do think their papaya rules is getting a bit iffy though. There's so many subconscious rules on the drivers that it kind of is repressive rather than liberating to them. But we will see what happens. I think if Red Bull give Max the car, he will win this championship 110%. And I have like zero, not an ounce of doubt in my mind that he will win this championship. Give him the machinery that is, though.
Yeah. Because you mentioned on the last show we did on All Sports podcast, you mentioned that Oscar wasn't in the team celebration. I was thinking, hold on, where's Oscar? It doesn't look like he's there. He and his team were not on the podium. It was Lando's team and half the McLaren team. It wasn't the whole McLaren team on the podium, I think. It was just Oscar just wasn't there. Oscar was like I said, Oscar had a fallout with Zach Brown. I think he shut the radio off when Brown's congratulating him on the championship. But then again, that's gonna happen. And for Red Bull, this is not an ideal scenario. You do not need team feud right now. You need to pounce because Verstappen, like I said, I mentioned on the last. If you don't fail to capitalize, or if you fail to capitalize, if you fail to win, there's Max Verstappen at the mirror of your car. He's right there. He's there. He's there to he's on your rear wing. He's gonna be on your front wing, and then he's gone. That's Max Verstappen. He's gonna be ahead of the championship race very, very soon. Before you know it, he's gonna be the one on top. So
yeah,
If you don't
I-
pound, goodbye.
I don't want to
Just-
interrupt you, but
No,
in
no.
the last three races, Max has made up, I think, 41 points.
41
So
points. Crazy.
in just the last three races, so in the current trajectory that Max is going on, he will be in the lead before Abu Dhabi, which obviously we don't expect, because McLaren will get their act together. Hope like at least somewhat of a sane level. But the fact of the matter is, regardless of what partisanship that we are playing, right? I know King, obviously, you are Lando Norris's biggest fan, and Ekevin, I know you are Oscar Piastri's biggest fan. But the fact of the matter is, both of those drivers, push come to shove, both of those drivers have been really underwhelming. They have been pushed every time they have been shoved. That's the problem. So,
Confident? No, so, finish what you're saying. Sorry.
So I'm saying every time that McLaren seemed to be tested against Max, whether it's this year, last year, whatever it is, Max has come up on top. And I see no sign of that being changed. The Inter battle, yeah, I think McLaren are doing the right thing. The problem is the whole mentality is exonerate and liberate those drivers. And I have no problem with that. But even, did you guys see McLaren's reaction to the incident
No.
when Zach Brown and Andrea Stella were interviewed? Did you guys see how they reacted? Their first response was they called Hulkenberg and Alonso both amateur drivers, and that's
Yeah.
okay. Fine, I get it. You're politicaling it, right? You're basically being a politician and trying to protect your own drivers. But I believe that sentiment is being translated privately as well, because there seems to be no growth as a team from this to the end of the season. And like I said, after Singapore, I thought Oscar Piastri, maybe he'd have his moment of igniting, right? He was finally isolated from the team. But instead, he just seems to be the same way he was in Azerbaijan. So to me, I'll pass it on to you, Renvir. To me, I just think that the McLaren team, mentally, they are not in any of the same leagues as Max Verstappen or Red Bull. And technically, the fact that Red Bull have a car that's similar to McLaren, yeah, good luck. It's going to be tough. You just need to focus on yourself and you will win the championship. But you're so restrained by Max that the fear of Max Verstappen is like Mike Myers. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm. Ranveer, I know you said you had to go. Make sure you give your last points if you have to. If you want to add anything, real quick, and give your last points and your predictions. Top four.
No, I said 5 minutes.
Top three, and then your
Yeah, so going back to what Augusti said, right after the incident happened, Zach Brown said these are amateur hour drivers behind him. Now, I know that's an American term that's used for drivers. When it's rush hour, drivers making mistakes on the road, on the real road. But this, he described professional Formula One drivers who have been in the sport for years. At McLaren, as Augusti said, there's no ownership of their mistakes. There's no growth because they don't take ownership of the mistakes. They don't take accountability. And if you're always told you've done the right thing or whatever, someone has caused a problem to you, you're not going to grow. You're not going to grow and you're not going to learn from it. And you're not going to be able to prevent these things from happening in the future. And Oscar Piastri, that was 100% his mistake. Cast your mind back to Sao Paulo 2024 when Lando Norris he's running I think he's running second to George Russell. And he keeps saying on the mic to his engineer, Will Joseph, where's Verstappen? Gap to Verstappen. Where's Verstappen? Where's Verstappen? Where's Verstappen? He literally asked him, where's Verstappen 20 times. And his engineer said to him, mate, focus on your own race. What are you worrying about Max Verstappen for? This monster is just looming over the Papaya garage. And his mentality is in a different league. Well, Verstappen, he can say, I didn't make a mistake and learn from it and grow from it because deep down he knows he makes mistakes. But Norris and Piastri, they're pampered by McLaren. They don't get told that they made errors or mistakes. They just get told, oh, it was Hulkenberg. Oh, no, it was Alonso's fault. Mate, you did a great job out there. Keep doing what you're doing. You're just unfortunate to be caught up in that chaos. And it just leads to no growth and it just leads to no prevention of those mistakes happening in the future, and it leads to no attributes, additions to the driver ability.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, that's all I got to say about that. Anything more, real quick?
I think it's just really foolish, to be honest, to get your team principal and say these are amateur hour drivers when clearly your driver made a mistake trying to
Yeah.
slot into a gap that doesn't exist.
And just to clarify, people, I actually meant McLaren, not Red Bull. So excuse me on that one. I meant McLaren. So yeah, McLaren drivers were on the podium, and then Oscar wasn't there. I think there's a team feud going on, and then hence why you saw the accident happen. Although it wasn't fully Oscar's fault, you saw it's something that is kind of an example of what's happening. The pressure is starting to build on McLaren now, and if they don't pounce, they could really say goodbye to the drivers' championship. Both drivers could say goodbye to the championship because Max Verstappen is right there. He's right there to collect all the loose points. You know, trying to say he's trying to make up ground.
Yeah, can I say something real quick?
Go on, bro. Of course.
You need to clip everything Renvir just said because he cooked.
I will
He left no crumbs. Like that was beautiful. That was a great monologue. And he's
So,
right.
Minute 30 something.
Yeah, we all talk about this Oscar Lando fight. Which team are you on? But I'm gonna make an analogy out of it. I'm not gonna get you demonetized. It's like
Sure.
politics in America. You know, you have two major political parties, but at the end of the day, the reason both aren't succeeding is the same reason. Like, it's like Lando and
They're both
Oscar.
the
That's the
same
fight.
country, but different views.
Yeah, I mean, as much as they look like completely contrasting personalities and characters, at the end of the day, the root reason they're not succeeding is the same reason both parties aren't fulfilling their own potential, right? They are compromised, whether it's mentally or financially. That's what's happening. Renvir, I know you agree with that analogy. I know it's so far-fetched, but it is the proportionate analogy here. So, yeah, I agree with you, Renvir, and I think it to me it's such a shame. It's such a tragedy that Max has such a deficit. Because if he didn't, he would be leading this championship by some distance. But we will see what happens. I just think with McLaren, for Oscar Piastri, it's such an important race tomorrow. Because these last few races, I can't remember a title contender who has capitulated the way you have. What happened in Azerbaijan? If Lando Norris did what Oscar did in Azerbaijan, everyone would have been on Lando's ass. Everyone, King, you would have been like, Alex Dunn should replace him in the next race, bruv. But because it was Oscar Piastri, it's okay. Who cares? We'll let him pass. I'm not saying you. I'm just saying the media in general. So, both drivers are pampered heavily. Both drivers are in their baby pampers, and they need a straight talk because they're lucky to have an advantage. They can still turn this deficit around. But yeah, man, next season, like Ekvin said, when Mercedes and Max get their act together, I don't see you in this picture at all. You're not.
Augustia, we were talking about this early on the show here. Do you know what Lando Norris's real name is?
Tell me what his full name is.
Leyland Kinder Norris.
Oh, so he's an egg? Nah, bro.
No,
Nah.
Redmi, you didn't need to do this to me, bro.
Nah, bro. I don't want to make fun. That's someone's government name, so good for them. But
Stop
King,
that.
No,
King, you should change your caption on StreamYard to that.
It's a lot of the Kinder Egg that really made me like laugh, bro. So it is.
That's
Redmi, you do that to me, bro. We had a laugh about it earlier as well.
No, but Agustin needs to laugh about it.
Huh?
Agustin needs to laugh about it.
I am. I'm just trying to be as respectful as I can to someone's government name.
Oh,
Renvir, but you're right.
Nah,
I think it does manifest what he's doing.
A lot of Kinder Egg.
Yeah.
That's what makes me
So
laugh.
going back to about Piastri, Piastri's always been in good teams, whether it's Formula Renault 3.5, Formula 3, Formula 2, where he won the consecutive championships. And now in Formula 1, he is in such an uncomfortable situation that he's never been in before. Norris has been in this situation last year, but bottled it, ultimately failed. So Piastri, he's in the pressure cooker now, and he's ultimately bottling as well. And Verstappen will make up this deficit. I 100% believe so.
I agree with you. It's just whether they give him the machinery. And Renvir, before you go, I don't know if you have to go yet. Do you think, just an estimate from you, because you are like the nerd of nerds with Formula One, with people I know, it's a fact. Trans the man. Do you believe that
Trans
Red Bull will give Max the car in most races?
So McLaren, they've shut off the parts factory for this year, normal developments, I believe. So Red Bull are still developing. Lauren Mecky's, I think he's counselling with Verstappen. What upgrades do you need? What can we bring to these tracks to help you ultimately succeed? Because McLaren are ultimately faltering, and this is such a good chance for Verstappen to get his 5th World Championship. And obviously, no team ever, if there's a World Championship on the cusp, no team ever wants to give that up, whether it's constructors or drivers. So, Lauren Mecky's, I think he's going to bring upgrades to these remaining tracks. So, you've got Mexico, Sao Paulo, Las Vegas, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi. So, you've got 5 more races after tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, I think that whether these upgrades are effective, only we can see when Verstappen puts them to use in qualifying and races and sprint races.
You have Madrid.
There's 2 more sprints to go.
You have Madrid as well next year.
Basically,
Madrid next year.
No,
good point.
left this year.
Sorry?
Remaining races this year.
No, I'm just saying next year I'll add in Madrid, so it's gonna be more. It's gonna be more next year.
We're
More.
talking about this year.
No, I know. I'm just making the point that add in Madrid as well next year.
But so basically, Renvir, if I was to sum it up, McLaren are basically going to plateau, stay the way that they are. It's just whether in Milton Keynes, whether Red Bull can make the car that is sufficient enough for the man to win, right? Is that it?
Factos, yep.
So of course, this objectively in McLaren's hands, but it's also in Red Bull development's hands.
100%.
Yeah.
And at Red Bull, even though the senior personnel left, I think only Pierre Wache is left from the senior personnel. Jonathan Wheatley, Rob Marshall, Adrian Newey, all them guys have left. So I think.
Now Horner's now gone.
Oh yeah, Christian Horner as well.
He's coming to Ferrari, Ekelin. No, I'm kidding.
I listen. If that happens,
I would take him.
King mentioned on last stream that if Ferrari don't win next year, they could change it all up. And
No. Ekelin, I texted you this in the DMs. I said Horner to Ferrari might be the best thing that could happen to Ferrari. I know it sounds so silly.
I do like Fred Vasseur though. I still think
No. I back Fred Vasseur. I'm not critiquing. I'm just saying Horner is like a Jose Mourinho to me.
Yeah,
he's just someone that's going to come in who'd be no nonsense to a Ferrari. To a Ferrari setup that has been quite laxed and lenient. Where technically, yes, they have the ability, but it's again just being decisive. They aren't decisive, and they screw up whether it's strategically or a mechanical call. I think, or a driver call. Horner is someone that would fight for you till death, like he fought for Max more than Toto fought for Lewis, and also he would be that no nonsense guy that would just uplift Ferrari to a different level mentally. But if you keep the same technical stability, I think Horner plus Ferrari would be quite entertaining. Potentially,
and bringing Max Verstappen as well if you dare.
Well, yeah, then you'd win the championship.
You've got the money to throw it. You've got the money to throw it. Like I said, next year you've got 2 cars with the capital and the resources next year to win the title. You've got McLaren, you've got Aston Martin, you've got Mercedes. 2 of the best engines next year in my personal opinion. Potentially 2 of the best engines next year. I think 2 of the fastest cars as well next year potentially. Mercedes will be up there, the fastest car. I think with the best engine. So yeah, but like I said, we shall see. But sorry, King hasn't really said anything in a bit. Unless you want anything, run real quick.
Yeah, but what you're saying, Verstappen to Ferrari, I could never see it happening. I think his Formula 1 career will die down before he gets the opportunity to do that. Yeah, as Augustus said, it's up to Red Bull's car development, their technical team behind the scenes, whether they can produce upgrades where they beat McLaren at the remaining tracks this season. Obviously, you got the driver factor. Verstappen, he can eke everything out of car, but you still need a car that can perform. I'll give my predictions before I go quickly.
Yeah, no worries.
I think Verstappen's going to win the race. He's going to win the race, finish P1. Do I want to say a crash? Because I was questioning.
You got it right, bro. So say it if you have to.
I was questioning a crash. So
not a serious crash because you know
Verstappen qualified on first,
you don't want
and then
serious
it
crash.
was Piastri, Norris second, and Piastri third, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Russell
No,
fourth.
no, I think Charles got third.
It was Max, Lando, Charles. That was the
Yeah,
top three.
Fernando Charles.
Charles Leclerc.
Charles
Yep.
got third.
No, I
Leclerc
swear
was
he wasn't third. I swear he was
No, no,
fourth.
Piastri
I-
sixth.
he
Third.
was
Piastri
third.
qualified sixth.
He was
Yeah, that's what
third.
Garvin was saying. On pure
Oh,
pace, merit,
hey.
not even any
He was
malicious.
deputy. He was
Max
deputy.
Ranveer,
Yeah.
Max dunked 6/10 on Oscar
Yeah.
on pure pace
Yeah.
with 1 lap only.
He didn't even mean to do that.
And
Yeah.
real
Exactly.
thoughts on Carlos Sainz finishing third in the sprint. He's been
Yeah.
up
Fair
been
play, Carlos Sainz.
his car.
No, I'm sure Williams have had improvements that make them better, but I think Carlos Sainz said it best himself. Carlos Sainz said, actually, it's not really that we're doing much better. It's the fact that the luck is finally going in our way. And of course, you make your own luck, but Williams' pace has been relatively the same from the beginning to here. It's just that recently, luck has been on their side. They're not crashing out early on. They're not having incidents. They're just actually getting on the receiving end. So, as they say, what goes around comes around. So, Williams are finally getting the benefit of their beauty.
Yeah, you make your own luck. With Verstappen made his own luck. One flying lap in SQ3 and he sticks on pole. So, yeah, so back to what I was saying about predictions. Verstappen finishes first, P1. And then second, I'm going to say George Russell. And then third, Charles Leclerc. Because today when Russell was on provisional pole in SQ3, I thought he had a outsider shot. And then Verstappen just comes along, does his 1 lap, then buggers off back to pit lane. So because he doesn't get to another goal. So yeah, so that's all I have to say. Thank you for having me on the show. I didn't think it was going to be today, but Agustin obviously pushed it today. So yeah, cheers from EA in Sports.
You get.
Hey! I'm just Ranveer. I'm just asserting my Stein influence here.
Because if we do if we go live tomorrow, I was like with 3 people, like 3 p.m. Barely people will join.
Yeah, and that's 1 hour before, 1 hour 30 before
Yeah,
Manchester United vs Liverpool kicks off.
yeah. So, I mean, 9 a.m. UK. I mean, that's what I meant.
Yeah,
Nine-
I'll be in
But
bed.
around 9, not many people will join. So listen, it's
As
good.
me and African King said today, we need a sleep. We need a sleep. So
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm not sure about that phrasing, but okay.
what, need a sleep?
Nothing. Okay.
Don't
need-
you sleep? Oh yeah, you sleep. You don't sleep in it, Agustin.
Wait. I don't even know what that word means. Anyways.
That's why you look pale as a ghost.
Oh, thank you. I am white. You call me white. Thank you. I'm joking.
he's from a brown family though.
Yes,
'Cause we are-
I am.
Because we even though we're not brown, technically we're considered. From
Nah,
brown.
man, I'm a human. Above all,
Wow.
above race, I am a human.
Humanoid robot from Detroit become human.
Our
2040 AI robot.
Well, you
Agustin.
guys not brown. You're not brown.
No. We don't have to be brown to be called brown. We're from brown family. Like, you know what I mean? Indian traditions, like you're from like
Brown
a
ethnic families.
yeah. That's what I mean. We're not technically brown skin color, but in a way that we are from a brown heritage. That's what I mean.
Oh, okay.
Anywho's subscribe to AN Sports, get him to 470 subscribers. Subscribe to African King Academy, get him to 160 subscribers, and that's me
Nah,
signing off.
200
Good night,
subs.
everybody.
200 subs, man. 200 subs, bro. Let's go.
Nah, because he wants a boy, that's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I am. I didn't even realize. My bad.
W scouting.
You need to
Big
keep
up.
track, AN Sports. Akavin.
Nah,
You need to
I-
keep track.
I was there on his live earlier. He was at 158.
No, I'm just joking, yeah. Big
It's
up everyone in
159
chat.
now. I
Big
did
up
not
everyone on
change.
the panel.
Guys,
And that's me signing off.
once up the king. Take care, bro. Let's get him to 160 and let's get to 470 for in sports, guys. Come on.
100%. Real quick, I need to get something. How long are you planning on being on for?
Live
Yeah, I need to get something downstairs. I told you what I was gonna get.
another 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
Okay. I'll be back in like 10 minutes. Okay.
Cool. No worries.
In a bit.
No worries. King, obviously give your thoughts on the qualifying, bro. Yeah, I don't think you haven't given your thoughts on that one yet.
In quali, for me, I think it was very poor from. I think it was poor in general from both the McLarens. I think they were very far behind Max. Obviously, they're dealing with the crash, so it was a quick turnaround for their cars to be fixed. So to still get second and sixth was still impressive, regardless of obviously having to rebuild the cars. So shout out to the engineers. Yeah, it was surprise. Ferraris were surprising third and fifth because in the sprint qualifying they were nowhere to be found. But they found some pace in quali. What else? Unfortunate for Albon. That is
Yeah.
that is
Albon
that
struggled.
yeah, fortunate for Albon that on Q1 that his time got deleted because it cost him. Isaac Hadjar got a crashed out, so that cost him as well. And same with Lance Stroll, his time got deleted. So those three drivers were unable to make it past the Q1 for various reasons.
Yeah.
And then in Q2, it was just pretty much based on pace. I don't think there was any particular. Actually, was there anything particular? No, I just think that certain cars were just a bit too slow. Obviously there was some difficulties with getting to the line in order for you to do an extra lap, and you know what's funny? Max's pole lap came from his first one. He was unable to do a second one because he was a bit too late in terms of, and I think he did. I think he compromised. I think he compromised Charles as well because he obviously when there's a car ahead of you, there's a grounding effect. So I think Charles even lost a bit of time because of Max, similar to the way that Lando did him. So I think Charles could have been a lot quicker than he was. So it's interesting. It's interesting. I think overall it was a interesting qualifying. I would say interesting qualifying. Carlos showing the Williams still had the pace. Oliver Behrman, shout out to him getting the Haas in the top 10. And then obviously Alonso, the rookie of the year, getting top 10 as well with his Aston Martin. And then the usual suspects for the top 7 in a different order than I expected. I expected more from Oscar Piastri. I think he should have been top 3. Outside of that, everything else was... And maybe more from Kimi as well. Kimi and George, because I think Kimi and George in the Mercedes should be ahead of the Ferraris. I don't think the Ferraris are quicker than the Mercedes at the moment. So that's about it for me.
Fair enough. But yeah. No, I hear you, bro. I mean, no, it seems to me that McLaren just it's a huge loss of confidence in my opinion. If you look at it from the teams, there's no harmony, there's no like chemistry, team chemistry. I think that there's a falling out there. I think there's what do you call? There's it's becoming a toxic environment. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? It's becoming a very like, how do you say it?
No, I don't think so. I just feel like for me in the sprint race, the crash was out of their hands, and that's just unfortunate. Sometimes the rubber of the green doesn't go your way, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to obviously Hulkenberg hits Piastri, which hits Lando Norris, and sure there has been some murmurs of some issues, but I don't think it is as bad as maybe we were talking about earlier because I feel like they had a united front against Hulkenberg and the other driver, and they blamed it on the other drivers, not each other, which makes sense. And then in terms of qualifying, Lando did well. Oscar didn't do what he was necessarily needed to do. Personally, I think, but yeah, it is getting a little bit toxic. But I think the bigger issue is that they're giving too much away to Max in terms of pointage. They've already lost 8 this weekend. They can't afford to give him any more points. So either one of Lando or Oscar has to pip him to the race win tomorrow.
Yeah. No,
today.
I hear it. 100%. I hear it, bro. I hear that. And obviously, you got like you say, Red Bull, who had a slow start to the season, but Max is now starting to grow into it, and then he's almost there. But he made up ground for the for the McLaren double DNF in the sprint. So that's 8 points added and whatnot. So yeah, that's all I can really say. I mean, it's not really much. And big up to Charlotte.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
yeah, we can hear you.
Is Ekevin there?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't see him at all. Wait.
Oh, technical difficulties, but yeah, is there anything else we need to talk about really? Or...
No, I was just to Charles Leclerc. I thought he had a very, very good final lap. He did
even when he was compromised with Max as well. It was a great lap.
Now can you see me?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I just couldn't see you for some reason.
I don't know. But yeah, I was just saying, big up to Charles Leclerc for that final lap, and yeah, he got P3. He's starting P3 tomorrow. Do I think he'll finish P3? That's a different conversation. But anything you guys want to add before you go on to predictions and close out?
No.
Let's do predictions then, I guess. I'll go first. Max to win the race. I'm gonna go Lando number 2. And I think Russell P3. I was gonna say Charles Leclerc, but then again, the Mercedes have more pace than Ferrari. In my opinion, I think the Mercedes have more pace than Ferrari. I think Mercedes will capitalize, because also George Russell almost got shot. Was it Max Verstappen off the track? He forced Max Verstappen off the track. It was not a good move in my opinion. I think there could have been other ways to kind of overtake, to force him off the track. It kind of almost costed you a penalty as well. The stewards had to look into it, but I'm gonna say George Russell. I think he has more pace than the Ferrari cars, so I'm gonna say Verstappen, Norris, Russell, and then I'm gonna say outside to finish in the podium, probably Charles Leclerc. I don't know about Oscar Piastri. That's my only. I don't know if he'll pounce, but that's just my opinion. Predictions and the outsider.
Yeah, I hate to be that guy. I love to be a contrarian, or as King knows, subvert the status quo. That's what I love doing. But Ekevin, since you set the status quo, I actually have to agree with you. I think it will end up being a Russell on the podium. Lando's McLaren will have too much pace, so he can't reach that place. It'll be Russell P3, Lando Norris P2, and Daddy Max Verstappen once again dominating and destroying the grid, winning yet another race and cutting that deficit in historically. So Max 1, Lando 2, George Russell 3. But when it comes to my outsider, I will pick Lewis Hamilton, because Hamilton loves America. Historically and traditionally, Hamilton is very fast in America. And as we saw in quali, as we saw in the sprint itself, Hamilton does seem to be the faster driver among the two. So Hamilton is an outsider. Watch out for him. I'm not going to call Oscar an outsider, but Oscar as well. Oscar to me that's the race I want to watch. I want to see how he adjusts mentally. That's it here. So yeah, Max Verstappen to win the race is my pick.
One more driver we forgot to give credit to, or give a shot. Carlos Sainz. He's had a really good weekend so far. I thought he's been absolutely brilliant. King. Predictions.
Predictions.
Top 3 and outsider.
If there's no crash, Lando, Max, Oscar. If there is a crash, actually, Lando, Oscar, Max. I think both McLarens will pass him, because he was slow in the sprint race, but he was way slower than the Mercedes.
But then again, he made a round towards.
Although, to correct you, he was slow initially, but after his tires warmed up, it was the quickest car on track.
Yeah, but we didn't see the McLarens, and they're much quicker than him. So for me personally, I think they both pass him eventually in that race, especially if there's no crash. Because Lando will get him. Lando will get him, I think. Unless they crash each other, because that's Max is always due to crash a man if he thinks he's gonna lose a race. But If there's no
Oscar.
crash, Lando, if no crash, Lando, Max, Oscar. If there is a crash, Max, if there is a crash, Max Hamilton, Max Hamilton, Russ, no, Max Russell, no, Max Hamilton, Kimmy. No, Max Hamilton, Max Hamilton, Kimmy, or Oscar.
Or Leclerc or Sainz.
Huh?
Russell, Leclerc, or Sainz.
If the 2, 3, and 4 will crash into each other, Lando, Leclerc, Russell, that's what would happen. Very similar situation. Those 3 drivers are very similar to each other in terms of pace. So if they were to crash in that first corner, I think Lewis would just get out of there, and then maybe Oscar and Kimi get out. Actually, yeah, maybe if Lewis might get involved in a crash. Max, Oscar, Kimi if there's a crash. Max, Oscar, Kimi if there's a crash.
Do you think the McLaren has a bit of team unrest? Do you think it's a bit of like overconfidence? Do you think it's a bit of cockiness, arrogance, that they're like, oh wow, we've come so far, we've done such a good job, we're just gonna tail off a little bit, we're gonna slow down a little bit, allow others to get back into it. Do you think it's a bit of that, or do you think they're just losing points because they're kind of found out now?
Not really. I think they just had an unfortunate incident in the sprint race. That's what that really happened. They're still very relatively quick. I mean, Lando's still got P2. Obviously, Max is a great driver, and you expect him to outdrive his car more time than not. And as Ranveer said earlier, Red Bull are purposely putting new pieces into the Red Bull to help Max win the drivers' championship, whereas McLaren are probably having 2 eyes onto next year. So I think for me, I still think the McLaren is still the quickest car out there. I just think Max got the bit of the Max had a good start and a bit of the rub of the green that the 2 McLarens got knocked out. Because I think if the McLarens were in the sprint race, I think one of them would have caught him up, or both of them would have caught him up. So in terms of the race, I think Max will get top 3 if there's no crash. As I said, Lando, Max, Oscar. And if there is a crash, then Max will make it out because he'll have a quick start in terms of the first corner. He'll make it away. And then there'll be a crash between Lando, Charles, Russell, them 3, maybe Hamilton involved. So then it will be a Max, Oscar, Kimi top 3. Just because the 2 to 6 range are very similar in speeds and in launch times. So if there is going to be a crash, it's going to be between them, just like the sprint race. So it'll be very similar to the sprint race, where it will be the ones in 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th making the beneficiaries, and that would be Kimi and Oscar. But who knows? Hopefully we get a clean start, and then we'll see. And then it will be based on race pace, and then maybe Max still wins it anyway.
Any more thoughts before we close up, real quick, people?
No. Actually, yes. Because it's a sprint weekend, we don't actually know how good these cars are in long runs, because not many of them were able to do long runs as well, to the extent they want to. So it's going to be very interesting to see how. And because we never saw the McLarens in the sprint race, we haven't even seen them in a short distance, so we don't know how good they are going to be this weekend in the race. So it's just a wait and see for the 2 McLarens. Maybe they're slower than the Mercedes and Red Bull, or maybe they have the ultimate pace and they finish 1 and 2. Who knows? We don't know. That's the thing.
Red Bull right behind Ferrari, Verstappen carrying the whole organization on his back. True. Augusta, anything before we close up?
No, he's not carrying the organization. He is the organization.
He is organizing. He's Mr. Red Bull. But anyways, guys, we are going to wrap it up here. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 500 subs, guys. 1 sub to 470. If you guys could sub, that'd be fantastic. Sub to King's channel. The link is in the title. His main channel is in the title. His second channel is in the description of the video, so go check. So go check it out. We are gonna be back tomorrow on Monday for the race review. So tune into that at 4:30 p.m. UK around. Maybe before we'll decide again. But yeah, I appreciate you guys being here. King, do you have anything coming up on your channel before?
Yeah. Football tomorrow. I'll be watching Serie A, Premier League, NFL.
Yep.
Any other leagues? Maybe the women's soccer league as well. I think there's one or two of those. I was gonna do the games tonight, but obviously this came up, so I can't.
Are you not watching the F1?
As a watch along, no.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
yes.
make sure you guys go subs for us to stop people.
I will be watching it, but to be honest, I didn't really watch the sprint race, so who knows? I'm 50-50 on whether I'm going to watch the race or not.
But yeah,
Cool.
Unless I'm
I gotta
busy.
say, appreciate you being here as always, bro. And yeah, like I said, guys, we're trying to get to 500 subs. 1 sub to 470. King is 1 sub from 160. So go sub to the channel, people. But let's try to get him to 200 as quick as possible by the end of October if we can, people. But yeah, I think that's all we have today. Enjoy your evening. Enjoy your evening. Enjoy your night wherever you are.
Going into Unai Emery there, Ethan.
Enjoy your evening. You know what I mean? Enjoy and enjoy wherever you are, people. Peace, love, and guidance, and have a great day, people. We're out. Forza Ferrari. Take care.